this is Bunton with your Visual Functional Maths at NT Level 3. Today's topic is length and weight. It is based on part 2, measuring, and if you remember, we've already dealt with units and we'll be applying that knowledge on this and the next lessons we'll be doing. What is length? By the end of this lesson, we would have learned that length is a measure of how long or short something is. We'll be able to change from one unit to another. We'll also compare the lengths of things. You might have to answer questions where you have to do calculations with lengths. Let's look at example 1. Colette has a 5-foot length of fabric. She buys another 0.5 foot long piece and she needs to know the total length of fabric she has now. To find the total length, add together the lengths of the two pieces, which is 5 foot plus 0.5 foot, totaling 5.5 foot. So Colette has 5.5 foot of fabric. Let's look at example 2. Matthew needs to paint a line halfway along the football pitch. The pitch is 100 meters long. Where should Matthew paint the line? To find out where halfway along the pitch is, divide the length of the pitch by 2. That would be 100 meters divided by 2, which is equal to 50 meters. So Matthew needs to paint the line at 50 meters. Where he should start or stop is up to the instruction he's been given. Let's look at these practice questions. You remember, practice questions are there to help you reinforce the knowledge you've acquired by applying them. So I will not be giving you any questions from topics we have not covered. And don't forget that at the end of each part in the program, I would compile a set of questions with the answer for you to work on to reinforce your knowledge. Okay, so practice questions. Fatima has covered 3 miles on her run. If she carries on for another 2 miles, how far will she have run in total? Question 2. Simon is painting his garden fence. The fence is 80 meters long. So far, he has painted 45 meters. How much does he have left to paint? And then finally, Andy has 3 planks of wood. 2 planks, each 1.5 meters long. One plank is 2.5 meters long. What is the total length of all 3 planks? Now, you need to be very careful. Remember, I keep telling you about keywords. If you look at the first sentence, Andy has 3 planks of wood. 2 planks are each 1.5 meters long. That means one of the 2 planks is 1.5 meters long. So both of them have the same length. So be very careful when you're doing your work. Now let's see how to change from one unit to another. If a number has units after it, then you can only add or take away another number with the same units. If you look at the little table at the bottom of the screen, it gives you some relationships. 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeter. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. And 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. Remember, in my previous lesson I told you that kilo means 1,000. Okay, let's look at point 2. So to answer some questions, you might need to change from one unit to another. This table will help you to change between units of lengths. Here you have Calvin's ladder is 2 meters long. He extends it by 110 centimeters. How long is the ladder now? You need to add 110 centimeters to 2 meters, but you can't because the units are different. So you first need to change one of the lengths so that they both have the same unit. And here is how you do it. You can see from the table that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So to change meters into centimeters, you multiply by 100. Now we can solve the problem. 2 times 100 is equal to 200 centimeters. And the units are now all the same in centimeters. So to answer the question, you say 200 centimeters plus 110 centimeters are equal to 310 centimeters. Calvin's ladder is 310 centimeters long when it's extended. Some more practice questions. They're not difficult and I'm not giving you many. It's for you to practice. That's maths. If you take one of these every day, one of these questions every day and practice with it, you'll find out that your ability to solve mathematical problems will improve significantly. Question 1. Jacob is building a wall. It is 1.5 meters high. He wants to add another 50 centimeters to the wall. How high will the wall be when Jacob has finished it? Question 2. Virginia is making a bracelet by putting beads on a string. This sounds familiar to me. My wife used to do that a lot. Each bead is 5 millimeters wide. The string is 14 centimeters long. How many beads can Virginia fit on the string? Sometimes you might have to change lengths or widths or heights. That is when you want to compare them. Here is an example. A basketball team is looking for a new player. The heights of the 5 possible players are shown on the table, which is on the screen for you to see. So you have player 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The team want a player who is at least 1.9 meters tall. Which player could they choose? They could only choose one. Player 1 is only 1.89 meters, so it's too small. Player 4 is only 1.8 meters, again too small. Players 2, 3 and 5 are all over, so a decision has to be made. And the only way they can make the decision is by comparing their heights. Remember, they want the tallest. So obviously, they have to choose the player who is 2 meters tall because that player is the tallest player. Here's a more practice question. Tony wants to buy a rug. The rug needs to be at least 1.8 meters long and no longer than 2.7 meters long. Here you're given a range of between 1.8 and 2.7. Longer? No. Shorter? No. So, which of the following rugs would Tony choose? You're given 5 rugs there to choose from. Okay, now let's look at weight. You will know what weight is and how to measure it. Key questions are, how heavy is something? That is what weight means. How heavy is something? And if you don't add unit to the measurement, it will not make sense. And of course, you know how to compare weight. When does this apply? If you have to compare stuff that are measured in different units, then you have to convert all of them to 1 unit. You need to be able to solve problems involving weights. Let's look at example 1. Aidan fills a box with books and board games. The books weigh 4.5 kilograms. The board games weigh 2.5 kilograms. The empty box weighs 0.2 kilograms. How much does the filled box weigh? Again, read your question carefully when you're answering questions. Add up the weights of the books, the board games, and the empty box, which is 4.5 kilograms plus 2.5 kilograms plus 0.2 kilograms, totaling 7.2 kilograms. Let's look at example 2 now, which requires a little bit more effort and understanding of the question. A sack of potatoes weighs 55 pounds. Alan's trailer can carry a maximum of 600 pounds. He needs to transport 14 sacks of potatoes. Can he do this in one trip? These are the type of decisions people make all the time, but to make these decisions, you need to have the right information that will help you decide. First, work out the weight of 14 sacks of potato by either adding them, which is a long process, or multiplying them, which is the more efficient effort. You probably might need your calculator if you cannot do it mentally. So 55 pounds times 14 is equal to 770 pounds. 770 pounds is more than the maximum weight Alan's trailer can carry, which is 600 pounds. So Alan can't transport all 14 sacks in one trip. He'll have to do 2 trips. Example 3. Ellie buys a 1.5 kilogram bag of muesli. She buys a 450 grams box of muesli too. What is the total weight of muesli Ellie has bought? Now you can see that you have different sizes of muesli with different weight. So to find the total of these, what do we have to do? And then you're given information here that 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. Let's see how this is solved. First, you need to change one of the weights so they both have the same units. That is important. Never forget that. Remember, 1,000 grams is equal to 1 kilogram. So to change grams to kilogram, you divide by 100. 450 grams divided by 100 is equal to 0.5 kilograms. Now the units are all the same in kilograms. You can add the two weights together. 1.5 plus 0.45 is equal to 1.95 kilogram. Are you getting it? Good. Let's look at 3 practice questions quickly. I'll just read it out to you. By this time you should know that you should take your time. You should have your pen and you should make your notes. Suniera recently lost 11 pounds in weight. Before this, she weighed 178 pounds. How much does she weigh now? Question 2. Paul needs to carry some bags to his car. Each bag weighs 5 kilograms. Paul can safely carry 20 kilograms in one go. How many bags can he carry in one go? Harriet buys 1 kilogram of pasta. She uses 350 grams for a recipe. How much does she have left? Now we're going to compare weights and see how to go about it. It's often useful to compare the different weights of things. For example, if you want to work out the heaviest or lightest thing in a group, you have 4 people here: Lucy, Rachel, Claire, Marian, and you have their weights. Melissa, Shamila, and Joe need to find a fourth person for their rowing team. The team can't weigh more than 228 kilograms in total. The three of them currently weigh 167 kilograms. Who should they ask to be their fourth member from those four ladies? The first thing you need to do is to work out the amount of weight they have left over for a fourth member. Bear in mind that there is a limit to the amount of weight that can be in the team. So the weight left over will be equal to 228 kilograms minus 167 kilograms. That is their weight, which will be equal to 61 kilograms. That is the maximum weight they can add to their total weight. So the fourth member needs to weigh 61 kilograms or less. Who among those four ladies is 61 kilograms or less? Of course, it's Lucy. So you have to be systematic when you're doing math. Know your units, of course, and make sure you apply the rules. You can only calculate with the same unit. You cannot calculate two different units. Let's look at the next example, example 2. An airline allows each passenger up to 3 pieces of luggage. The total weight of one person's luggage must not exceed 23 kilograms. Elisa and Steve want to take these items on their holiday. Is it possible for Elisa and Steve to meet the airline's restriction? On the right there is the items she needs and their weight. Skiing gear, 19 kilograms. Suitcase, 8 kilograms. A second suitcase, 7.5 kilograms. And camera equipment, 4.5 kilograms. Let's see how we solve this problem. Whoever takes the skiing gear would have 23 minus 19, which is equal to 4 kilograms of allowed weight remaining, because their maximum is 23. So if you take the skiing gear, you're still under the maximum weight. There are 3 items remaining with a total weight of 8 plus 7.5 plus 4.5 kilograms, which totals 20 kilograms. So once you figure out all of these things, you can answer the question, which is, yes, it is possible to meet the airline's restriction, because the two of them have enough facilities or capacity to carry all of these equipment between them. Here's a practice question. 1. Lisa's going backpacking. She wants to buy the lightest torch she can. Look at the table. Which torch should Lisa buy? There are 4 different makes of torch there, and then each weighing 660 grams, 400 grams, 224 grams, and 900 grams. Practice question 2. Dennis is on a low-fat diet. Which of the following sandwiches would be the best choice for his lunch? Chicken mayonnaise, tuna mayonnaise, ham and egg salad. Obviously, he will need a low-fat sandwich. So I think you can answer this question very easily. And then practice question 3. Malik buys the following items at a supermarket. Apples weighing 0.9 kilograms, potatoes 2.4 kilograms, carrots 1.5 kilograms. Now use the pricing table below to write down the cost of each item. Remember, when you're looking at a table, look at the row which tells you which are the headings, and then look at the columns which gives you further information. In this case, this is about prices of different items. Apple on row 1, potatoes on row 2, carrots on row 3. All you have to do is compare the prices and answer the question. So there we go. Now what have we learned? We've learned the following. To measure how long something is. What tools are available to measure lengths? Why it's important to measure things. How to compare the lengths of different things. How to compare how heavy something is. The different units we use to measure weights. We've also learned how to compare weights. So there we go. Take your time to do the practice questions.